Deadpool and Wolverine. I gotta say, this is a movie that's really hard for me to fully put my finger on exactly how I feel and think, because I'm a huge geek in general. That's who I am. I love movies, I love books, I love shows, anime, but something that's deeply rooted in my nostalgia as a person is superheroes. I love Batman. I love DC's probably the thing I have the most nostalgia for, but I also love Marvel. I love Spider-Man, especially the X-Men, because the X-Men films came out first, you know? I've had some experiences reading Wolverine comic books, but I mostly have read DC comic books. Anyway, so I rewatched a lot of X-Men films this week, including the first two Deadpool films. I gotta say, right off the bat, I think the first two Deadpool films are better than this one. Just like as an objective fan, and I can't help but also view things objectively, you know? I think the first two are better films, and I think Deadpool 2 is probably my favorite, especially because it like leaps higher with like the whole superhero of it all, with more X-Men, with Cable and all that. This film, I think there's a lot of flaws going on. I think that's the thing with some superhero films, they focus on sci-fi. They focus too much on plot, and it's you get caught up too much in saving the world, stopping the missile, stopping the bad guy, stopping the machine, that sort of thing. You get too caught up in that crap, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I think some superhero films, they lose their way a little bit in the third act with stuff like that. And I think some movies are like the perfect balance, like the famous ones, you know, like Winter Soldier, like basically the films that the Russo brothers have directed, or MCU films that I mentioned in my Phase 4 videos. Check them out. You know which are the highly regarded superhero films, so I don't need to tell you. I feel like this film is like a ton of fan service, and the story, there's plot holes. It loses its way a little bit. The connection in terms of character journeys, I think there's like a gap missing from this film to Deadpool 2. It's a little jarring. You know what? I'm gonna do spoilers in this video. So his relationship with Vanessa, I think that was a really nice through line through the first two films. And in this one, it's just like it's kind of disregarded a little bit, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that. At least let there be more explanation. And if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. The explanation is, it's literally like a one scene, one conversation explanation. That's it. And I didn't really like that because she was such a big deal in the other films. So I didn't like seeing her character treated that way. And also, him in general losing his way as Deadpool. It's never a good idea. I think Sam Witwer is the one who said this. It's never a good idea to have a character that's so highly beloved make a serious change off screen. Unless the film is gonna be about peeling back those layers. And I don't think this movie fully does that. But again, the fan service is real and it's great. This movie is an extremely entertaining, fun film. Like, I mean, all the Deadpool films are. You know, that's the DNA and core and the tone of a Deadpool film. Yes, gore, vulgarity, and all that, but it's just fun. I'm a huge Wolverine fan. I mean, Wolverine is just praised in this film. Like, Logan and this film are just like, they understand Deadpool. I mean, they understand Wolverine. He's written and performed so perfect. I mean, I can't help but just literally be smiling the entire film. There's a lot of heart in this film. I'm sure you've heard already in tons of interviews of there's a lot of heart in this film and it's taken serious and all that. And it is. Wolverine is the heart, honestly. And there's a lot of heart with Deadpool. I really liked his whole journey of wanting to matter and him being very vulnerable in this film. I really like that. But I think that there's problems in this film, but it was super fun, such a good time. And especially if you're someone that's grown up with all of these X-Men films and the old Fox movies, because the only movie I haven't seen is Blade, unfortunately. But I know enough about him to still get excited seeing Wesley Snipes, you know? That was sick. I just when they walked out, that music, It was so epic. It was so cool. Like I said, I haven't seen that movie, but I felt like so much excitement in that scene, you know? I did grow up on the Electro, Daredevil, Fantastic Four, and I honestly haven't revisited the Fantastic Four films since childhood. So I still look at them fondly, but I need to revisit them because I know everyone tells me like they do not hold up and all that. So I gotta revisit them. Yeah. So seeing Chris Evans as Johnny Storm was one freaking sick. I mean, as soon as I heard his voice off screen, I was like, Chris Evans. And then when I saw his arm, because you see his arm in the shot a little bit, I was like, that's not Cap. That's got to be Johnny Storm. And I got so excited. It was, obviously. And Chris Evans really brought it, dude. He was so funny. He didn't feel like Cap at all, which is great. I mean, he's a great actor. We all know that, but it's just such a good feeling to see that. To see him use his acting ability because he was so good, so believable, so funny. His chemistry with Deadpool was something I didn't expect. Hilarious. Just seeing that connection, him bringing up Reed, little things like that that made the little kid in me just get excited. It made me remember those films again. Gambit. That was okay. So I'm not a big Gambit fan. I just don't have a relationship with him. I don't have a judgment, you know. But I know about him a little bit from the X-Men cartoon. He's like a cringe character, but I think that everyone loves him because of how, one, badass he looks, and two, how badass his powers are. He's just a cool character. He's just that cool fan favorite, you know? And I think that when he first initially comes out, and it's Channing Tatum, and you know, if you know, you know, he was casted, nothing ever happened. It was weird. The way his suit looked, it was like too thick material. He didn't look like it was pushing his cheeks in or anything. But I think it just, again, like I understand it's just a cameo. They're not going to spend who knows how much on a perfect costume and with the creativity. They just went for super cartoon comic accuracy, and that's it. And it does the job. You know, he looks really cool. It looked, like I said, it looked a little funny. It looked a little weird, and he became a joke. They made it a joke. They leaned in it. He leaned in it. Channing's a funny guy, you know. Yeah, it was a funny joke. At least that. It didn't feel like they were completely making fun of him, but it was a funny joke. I was just happy to see how cool he was in a fight, and that was my favorite part. For Gambit, he was a beast. I think he was the best one in that fight scene because I wish there was more Wesley Snipes fighting, at least creativity in the way he fought. Elektra was just, you know, a girl with batons, a girl with knives, a girl with swords. Like, we've seen that fight choreography before, and there's nothing new. What do you expect? It's still cool, you know? But I think seeing Gambit, that was a little special. I think the effects were perfect. Just seeing him use the cards, that was freaking sick. Him using the staff, all of it, great. Like, in terms of fight, Gambit was perfect. So that was awesome. I wish there was more of Daphne Keane. She's freaking great. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge Wolverine fan. I love Logan. That's one of my favorite movies ever. And Daphne's great. She hasn't lost it. You know, she's a great actress. I mean, she was good in Acolyte, but who cares about that? She was great here. I wish there was more, honestly, because she's such a good character, such a good actress, and her chemistry with Wolverine is just, with Hugh Jackman, it's just, you know, unmatched. But that kind of comes back to the flaws a little bit. I wish there was just more. This movie was, I remember when I saw the runtime being, 2 hours and like 5 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that. I remember thinking like, oh wow, like that's kind of short because Marvel films have been getting longer and longer and longer, you know? I think a movie like this could have done with like a 2 hour, 25-minute runtime. I do think that there was not much time to let things breathe, and I didn't really like that. That's like a big flaw for me. Just the basically the writing, you know, what sucks because that's what's so important in films. But that's the thing. What makes Deadpool such a unique story is that because he's Deadpool, narratively, you get away with a lot because he is acknowledging it. So him acknowledging it kind of, I don't know, it does something. I don't know what exactly it does to us, but it just makes us more okay with pretty much everything, you know? So that's really interesting. But again, like, it works. Like, I never in the film felt annoyed, or I never felt like this is cheap, this sucks. It's like in a retrospective way that I'm kind of like, I don't like. Well, actually, no. The whole Vanessa thing bothered me while it was happening. But everything else, that in terms of the writing with just like again, there's plot holes. You know, I don't fully understand. I don't fully understand the whole Cassandra Nova thing with the TVA. I'm sure we might learn about it later, especially because we know now that this is the TVA. This isn't like a variant TVA or something. I don't know. I don't really like the whole. That's the thing. I can't say I didn't like the last act because I did. I just didn't like it from a story perspective. I didn't like the plot. I didn't like the MacGuffin. Again, Deadpool acknowledges it. What in the MacGuffin is that? Or something like that. It's such a very specific experience to a Deadpool film. And again, it works. That's the thing. If this was a different film, I would say it's like cheap nostalgia stuff. But because it's Deadpool, it's such a specific way of telling a story that it honestly makes me okay with it. And I'm sure most people feel the same way. It's a really, again, unique thing. Anyways. Hugh Jackman wearing the cowl, wearing the mask. Oh my god, I didn't even talk about the Wolverine cameos. Dude, that was freaking sick. I was losing my mind during those cameos. It's funny, I screamed. I did a little woo when it showed him with the short sleeve brown suit, because that's my favorite Wolverine suit. So I screamed at that. And then when Deadpool mentions Hulk, I was like, no way. And then when you heard him growl, I was already excited. But I was like, there's no way they're actually showing Hulk. And then when you see his reflection, and I need to see it again, but I think that you actually see like a full-on frame of him, at least like a shoulder and up shot. And then he leaves, you know. But that was so sick. All of those were hilarious and sick. Dude, the comic accurate height Wolverine. Oh, God. That's so disturbing and so funny and so good. I wish I would have seen him fight, though. That would have been cool. But that was hilarious and sick. But Henry freaking Cavill. I heard about that rumor, and I completely forgot about it. Yesterday, leading up to the film, all I was thinking about was seeing X-Men, seeing Gambit. I think that's it. I think those are the only two things that I just was really thinking about. But I had heard about this rumor a long time ago. And Jesus Christ, when I saw like the super buff Wolverine, still, it didn't hit me. I was just like, oh, sorry. I was also thinking about Lady Deadpool. Who is it? Taylor Swift, Anya Taylor-Joy, Blake Lively. Anyway, sorry. When it was showing the muscles, I didn't even know who that was. And I love how he's like, the full package. He's everything. And then when he turns around, it felt weird just because it's not Hugh Jackman. And that's all we have as reference for a live action Wolverine. He really still looked sick. You know? Yeah, I got to see it again. I got to see it again to really take in those moments, you know, because they're so fast. And again, this movie goes by so fast, which is cool because it doesn't drag. But I wanted more, you know? As I said, Lady Deadpool. So when I heard her voice, I'm like, oh, immediately. I'm like, that's Blake Lively, you know? And then the Cowboy Deadpool, again, just through voice, I knew, oh, Matthew McConaughey. The credits confirmed it, you know? So that was cool. I gotta say, that was my least favorite fight. Surprisingly. Because it was the first time you see Wolverine with the mask, and he looked amazing. It didn't look weird. It didn't look corny or anything. He looked perfect. Especially with Hugh Jackman doing like his famous growl that looks like ripped out of the comics, you know? His mouth, his physical acting with the costume and perfection. It's insane how perfect he looked, you know? But I gotta say, that fight was my least favorite. I don't think it's the most successful one take. A lot of times with one takes, which happen a lot in like TV shows, not Daredevil, but in TV shows when they try to do oneers, you could kind of just see like, oh, this is a staged fight. It doesn't look that good. The choreography is a little shaky. It doesn't seem believable, and I think this Wonder suffers from that a little bit. So that sucks because it should have been like for me at least, it should have been like a really crazy, bombastic, cool fight scene. And it was all those things except cool, because I felt like I couldn't help but just feel like, ooh, like can't even see what's going on. The fight seems a little slow, you know. Um, but that cool shot, Wolverine looked freaking incredible, you know. So that was cool. I like that he didn't take off the mask for the rest of the film. He didn't bust what Marvel tends to do, which is just for some reason everyone loses their mask, loses their helmet, their iconic helmet, you know, just for the sake of seeing the actor's face. So that was really cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Again, I have a lot of problems with the film, but I think it's tied. The cons are pretty big deals. You know, usually for me they're pretty big deals. But this is such a unique film, and it does so much amazing fan service that it just can't help but outshine it actually a little bit, you know, which makes me okay with everything. But yeah, oh, Matthew McFadden, Mr. Darcy, he was really good. He was unexpectedly really good, really funny, really weird, really unpredictable. I really like him. Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was just gonna be like British. Deadpool kind of makes a joke like, "Oh, another British villain." I thought he was gonna be just like British, logical, cold, nerdy, cliche. And though he was those things, there was a very specific weird flavor that he brought to it, and that was, like I said, unpredictable and funny, and it fit in the film, and I really liked it. It was more than I expected from that particular type of character, so that was, pleasantly welcomed, I guess. But yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie, about the ending, about the post-credit scene. Hilarious. That's all I'll say. Freaking hilarious. Let me know if you guys agree, if you guys also kind of felt like the movie was a little shaky. But yeah, thanks for watching.